What's going on, everybody? I'm Chris Dailey, founder of the Sports Court, joined here by one of the best college soccer coaches in the country, head coach at the reigning Division II national champions, Cal State LA, and former professional soccer player, my dad. So, Michael Erush. Michael, thank you so much for joining the show.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. So, Michael, growing up, you were a great soccer player. You captained the U.S. youth national teams, and you carried that on to Loyola Marymount University, where you were a star. And while there in college, you played in the PDL for Orange County. And on that team was German legend and future U.S. coach Jurgen Klinsmann. So, first off, how was your collegiate playing experience? And secondly, what was it like playing with Jurgen back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, my collegiate experience was amazing. Going getting recruited with a lot of different schools. I decided to want to stay local and had an opportunity to get LMU on the map. And, being in my sophomore year, being in the top 25 and then making a run in the tournament was special. That was my college career. And in regards to Jurgen Klinsmann, it was unbelievable. I was obviously much younger, and he was much younger, so it made it that much more enjoyable. I also played with the soccer great Romario in Miami when I was playing professionally. So it was an honor to obviously be part of a team, be on a team with Romario, and then being part with Jurgen Klinsmann, who had an unbelievable playing career and an unbelievable coaching career.
Yeah, that's awesome because Jurgen Klinsmann and that 2014 World Cup team is really what got me into soccer. Jermaine Jones, when he scored that goal against Portugal, it was. I just remember that I was really young back then. So, I was just jumping up and down. And ever since then, I've been hooked on soccer. And it's just been so amazing to see. And a lot of people, I love Greg Berhalter. I interviewed him. So I have a bit of a, no matter what people say, I'm always going to root for him. But, people say what they say. And Jurgen Klinsmann was a fantastic coach as well. But after college, you played in the early days of MLS with the Colorado Rapids and Chivas USA. So describe that time when you were playing in the early days of MLS and just how different the league was back then compared to what it is today.
That's a great question, Chris. I mean, 2004, what is that? 18, almost 19 years ago. It's changed. I went undrafted to the Colorado Rapids, went on a tryout, and I was fortunate to make it off being undrafted from LMU. And then, got released at the end of the year, went to Chivas USA, played there half a year. And then I was also representing USA in the Maccabi games. So I asked for permission to get released in order to have an opportunity to go play pro after the Maccabi games, which was a great experience. Chivas was a great experience. Unfortunately, they went down many years ago. Colorado Rapids was a first class experience for me and a great organization as well.
Yeah, I had a Chivas jersey actually back. That was one of my first ever soccer jerseys, and
Really?
yeah, I
Where are
forget.
you based out of? Where are you
I'm in New
based out of?
Jersey. I'm in New Jersey.
Okay.
I think it's probably the
Okay.
cheapest one in the store, so my mom got it at my desk. But yeah, I used to
What
rock.
color?
I
What
think it
color?
was black. I think I had like a Pepsi sponsor. I can't remember
Yep.
exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
so I always loved that jersey. And you talked about playing a bit of everywhere, because you also played in Moldova, Israel, and Hungary. What did playing overseas teach you about yourself?
It was a challenge. Yeah, because I was a little bit on the younger side. To be honest, I was a little bit immature. Traveled with two bags, and for me, it was just kind of getting the experience that these kids today want to dream of playing pro. And I had an opportunity to play against some champion league teams. The level was high, the compensation was not high. For me, it was just finding a place where I would be comfortable and challenging myself. Israel was great. Hungary was very challenging. Because at that time Americans weren't really welcomed, and when an American comes to take someone's position, so it was a lot of dirty looks, a lot of hatred, and a lot of challenges for me. Because I was by myself traveling, some third world countries. Some I knew the language, some I didn't know the language. Moldova was a great experience for me, and then towards the end of my playing career, I knew I wasn't gonna excel to higher levels, and there was an opportunity where I could get into coaching early and get my graduate degree. And so, after Moldova, I decided to go to LMU and pursue my graduate degree and start my coaching career.
Yeah, definitely. And when you were playing, did you ever think about becoming a coach, or was there a thought maybe front office, or were you always set on coaching after playing?
I smile to that. People ask me that question, and I was so competitive and crazy that I said, if I can't play pro, then I'm not going to be a coach because I'm going to be pissed off because I always want to be a pro. So again, for me, it was, I never knew I was going to get into coaching because I always um, thought I was going to have a professional career that was longer than it was, and never thought I was going to go into coaching. And coaching kind of, it was a transition. It was all about timing, also luck as well, because there was coaching movements. It was my alma mater, and to this day, what is it, 18 years later, I don't regret anything, with my decisions.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, after being an assistant and an associate head coach at your alma mater for 11 years, and you did youth coaching work as well, you led the LA Breakers to the number one ranking in the country. You landed the assistant coaching role now in Los Angeles at Cal State LA. And since then, you won a national championship as an assistant, part of the coaching staff that won coaching staff of the year. And you recently got promoted to head coach. So, what does it take to build a legitimate college soccer team? Because you see a lot of guys, go out and recruit. What makes your program, because you guys have done so well, and just separate it from all the other Division two programs?
Yeah, so it becomes in the recruiting process. Obviously, to have a successful team, it make you want to make sure you bring in the right recruits. We challenge our recruits in the recruiting process if they don't get the details and understand kind of how the communication and how much details go into, from emailing to discussions to Zooms to in person, and then watching them play multiple times and making that decision. Hey, is he the right person to represent our university? Obviously the discipline, the sacrifices, the dedication that needs to be here. As you mentioned at the beginning of the Zoom, D2 is, for us, is just a number. We treat our players like D1 players. I treat my players like pro players. If they have aspirations to become a pro player, then we'll treat them as pro players. Our former captain from last year is very fortunate, playing for Las Vegas Lights and starting every game. And is very thankful. I just spoke with him last week. So for me, it's a lot of sacrifice and commitment when it comes to recruiting, and then making sure that kids get the details right to be successful on and off the field here at Cal State LA.
Yeah, and to elaborate on that recruiting, you're in a hotbed for soccer there in Los Angeles. It's a great territory for soccer, and New Jersey as well. I think SoCal and New Jersey are probably the two best places, in my opinion, for soccer in the states. And you have guys from all around the world now on your team. You have guys from Norway, Sweden, Spain, all around, and of course local guys. So how do you go about recruiting and actually recruiting people and finding these international players and of course these local players?
Yeah, so we have a good pipeline with a couple of different countries, because all these kids from around the world that come to play here have an unbelievable experience. So then the word gets out that, hey, this program's real. You guys should experience it. So the word of mouth and the experience that these international players get, obviously going to certain countries and recruiting in person, that happens. But it's also, having these contacts that you trust, that you build great relationships with, to have top players recommended here to our school. Locally, we recruit locally, nationally, and internationally. So locally, we try to go to junior colleges, to MLS next games, ECNL games. So we're always out and about trying to find the right player. We're fortunate to be a top ranked Division 2 team in the country, so we can be very selective, but we also have to be very careful when we're selecting players, because we want to make sure that they're checking all the boxes and ready to compete here at the highest level.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about the highest level, and as mentioned previously in the interview, you guys are coming off of a year where you won the national championship. And as coach of one of the best D2 teams in the country, a lot of times you see exhibition games. And before we even started the interview, I mentioned I interviewed the main coach when he was coaching D2, because obviously Maine's D1, but when he was coaching D2, they beat 5 D1 schools. So have you guys played any exhibition games against D1 schools and won?
So last year we beat a couple of D1 schools. Our season starts on Monday, and we have a couple of D1 schools scheduled. So we're excited for those opportunities. But yeah, I mean, we can compete with mostly every D1 school. The level our level compared to D1 is very similar. So that's why we get an opportunity to play a lot of D1 schools.
Yeah, that's awesome. And besides that national championship triumph, what's been your favorite memory here as a coach at Cal State LA?
Besides the national championship,
Is it's
uh, yeah, that's the obvious one. I mean, just winning the back-to-back CCA conference championships, winning the conference, winning the regional championships, winning the conference tournament. Those are obviously memorable. Working with these great student athletes on a yearly basis, bringing in student athletes who graduate and seeing them happy and smile. And some of these kids would never get a degree, and we give these kids an opportunity here at Cal State to earn an unbelievable degree, and obviously the first class soccer experience.
Definitely. And just to talk about these players, and of course, you talk about recruiting, but once you get all these guys to come to Cal State LA, and you've done a fantastic job helping the team reach its highest average GPA point, but how do you make these guys feel at home and feel like they belong, even no matter their background and no matter where they're from?
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge. Obviously, with 19 new players this year, we've done a lot of jobs, a lot of Zooms in the off season. We've been communicating, we've been meeting, we've been having breakout rooms, we've had icebreakers. We'll have team meals, whatever it takes for these new guys to become family, and as quick as we can. That's going to give us more success. So we do a lot of team events. This weekend the guys are going together to the beach. So every single player buys in. They know what is expected here. The captains know it's a trickle down effect from the head coach to the assistant coaches to the players, all the way down. So it's been amazing to see in such short time, like in the last couple of weeks, to see the guys be cohesive off the field.
Yeah, and we're talking about all this, and this is what makes a great team great. And I said, don't talk about the national championship run in the first one, but now we'll kind of brag about last season and just take me inside the locker room and what made you guys so successful last year.
I mean, there's so many different aspects to the success of the national championship team. Obviously, Coach Shamides was a great leader. And led by example and got us there. So I'm thankful for that. His leadership was tremendous and first class. Um, it was a lot of adversity with COVID. We didn't train. We lost a whole year and we didn't train. We did Zooms. We did a lot of things during COVID, and then post COVID when we returned, guys knew what it takes. We knew from our national champion because we made the national championship game in 2019, and there was some hunger for 2021. They knew what it takes. It was an experienced group, but all the different positive COVID tests, all the adversity, that in itself created some memorable challenges that people have to overcome in life. And so for me, that's very memorable because we could have had excuses, we could have gone down, but we fought every single time, whatever we need. If we go down in a game or if there's something bad going on, and we just overcame all the adversity and came all the way to the top. The semifinal game in the Final Four against a great Nova team, adversity, PKs missed, then winning it. The finals, getting that early goal. So there was a lot of different kind of a roller coaster of a year, and to end on the highest point of the roller coaster was unbelievable. And to this day, I'll remember the date, I'll remember everything because December 12th was a special day. December 13th, my kid was born. So it was quite remarkable couple weeks for me.
Yeah, it's a good week. I'm on December 20th, baby. So big fan
All
of
right,
that time of year.
awesome.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And just to wrap up, two more questions here. But as a player, you've seen a lot and really had a firsthand seat to watch the growth of American soccer in the United States. So, what are your thoughts about just how far America has come at developing soccer here in this country? And do you think there's anything the country could do to even further enhance the development of players?
Yeah, that's an unbelievable question. I was at the LA Galaxy LAFC SoFi Stadium game, and just to see the culture of where our soccer in America has taken is unbelievable. The opportunity for kids to play professionally, the opportunity for kids to play collegiately. The game has evolved. The youth game is very, very competitive. Growing up, we only had a couple of different leagues. Now there's so many players playing the sport. I'm very excited to see where we're at in 2026 for the World Cup. It's going to be a special one in North America. I have to say North America. But again, where it's taken, the development of our sport is unbelievable with the great coaches we have. But also what I would love to see is for kids to um, play more. You know what I mean? Like not just to play small sided games, play pickup soccer, to enjoy the game. I want kids to make sure that they love the game, not like the game. For me, I want them to fall in love with it. I use myself as an example. I fell in love with the sport at 5 and knew what I wanted it to be. I wanted to represent our country. I wanted to coach at the highest level. I wanted to be successful, but that all had to have some sacrifices. So with obviously sacrifices, risk, a lot of it was part of it to get to this level. So what I would say is I want kids to fall in love and see them play the sport more.
Yeah, definitely. And that's amazing. And that's one thing I always see, kids obviously play football, like American football and whatnot, but it would be really cool to see soccer grow like that. And my friends, I do fundraisers in Jude as well. So I have a little futsal league I do on a roller rink. And I've grown it from 4 teams to 9 teams. It's become a big thing in my high school. Actually, all the kids are always asking me to, join it. I'm like, I don't know who you are. You can't join it. Kind of an
Yeah.
exclusive thing, but it's been super fun. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like everyone always wants to play that now because it's just, fun, pick up street soccer pretty much. And that's why everyone begins to love the game a bit more. And just final question here. In the your bio on the website, the school website, it says you got a great sense of humor and everything. And I just see that now. Like you're such a nice guy. I'm blown away with this interview. And first off, have you ever watched Ted Lasso? Because I feel like you're Ted Lasso, but you actually know about soccer. That's how nice you are.
I don't watch much TV. I don't watch movies. I watch a lot of soccer. I love soccer. The only show I get watch is Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think the rumor has it that it's season 3 is the finale. So I have no idea what I'm gonna watch, but I don't watch much soccer. I don't watch much TV or movies, but soccer and Ted Lasso is probably the only things I watch on TV.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to get to the Bundesliga or Premier League after this interview. And yeah, if it's not an insult, I mean, that's a true compliment. Like,
No worries. No
yeah,
worries.
actually,
I think he has a little more. I think he has a little more personality than me, though.
nah, yeah, he's just got the mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a shirt. It says "Believe" right there, so I wear that all the time. I was wearing it yesterday, and that's such a great show. And Scott, talk about American soccer, the growth of it that turned into a commercial, and now millions of people know about soccer now, and they're getting educated on the Premier League thanks to a stupid little show. So
Yep.
it's
Exactly.
awesome. And thank you so much for this interview, though. I really appreciate
No,
it.
Chris, amazing. Tell me a little bit about you. What are you doing now? Like you do with this interview? What do you? How old are you?
I'm gonna be a junior. I'm 16, and I
Awesome.
do a bunch. I've started when I was 13, going into 8th grade. So now I'm going into my 11th grade, and I've done a lot of interviews, over 180, with a lot of different, mostly soccer, but a lot of different sports. And
Good for you.
as I mentioned, Shaquille O'Neal is probably